Brad Bradley and the Heritage Pioneers kicked off their high school football season with a scrimmage on Friday night against GW Danville. Coach Bradley shared his thoughts about that and more after the scrimmage with Heritage and GW on the Sports Buffet podcast.
Brad Bradley and the Heritage Pioneers getting ready to start the regular season here in just a few short weeks. We'll talk to him now and kind of preview the season and review a scrimmage against George Washington, Danville. Coach, most people think when GW comes to the field, that's going to be a tough team to play, and I thought their athleticism is going to give anybody problems. What did you see out of your team?
I was pretty happy being the first scrimmage and really, officially only having 2 weeks under our belt, 14 practices. I was really pleased with the execution on offense. We really had one true mental mistake, and that was the offsides penalty where we forgot to snap the ball the first play of the game. But I think that was more nerves than anything. I was really happy with the way we executed. We kept it really vanilla on offense today. We kind of pulled some things here and there out, but we really didn't show a whole lot of our offense. I felt like that defensively we made some mistakes early, but we were able to correct those mistakes, and we bent, but we didn't break. And if we get our team off the field on defense and get our offense back on the field, that's their defense's job. If they get a couple first downs, we're not too much worried about that. I was really proud of our defense when we went down in distance. They had a 4th and inches there, and we stopped them. And then we took the ball and scored. To me, that was the most positive thing out of the scrimmage. Our football team showed that we could overcome some adversity, and we had a sudden change there, and we stopped them on 4th down. We were able to drive the football down and score. So I was pretty happy. Obviously we missed a lot of tackles. We missed a lot of blocks. We had some missed assignments. But now for us as a coach, we can get them on film. We can start reviewing them. And we can start, we don't really grade, but we can start really, taking them and looking at them, evaluate them, and find out, what those mistakes were. We need to correct these mistakes and find out if we have a person in a position that shouldn't be at that position, might help us out in another position. And, our football team will be getting closer to what we're going to look like Heritage football come next Thursday when we have our scrimmage against Northside and Louisa.
Do you feel like you're ahead of schedule with the program, or right on schedule, or a little bit behind?
Well, I feel like we're a little ahead. I think that the new off-season rules really helped us. We were able to get in here in March and start doing a lot of the things that you're not normally, couldn't do legally. Now you can with the off-season rules. We went to 12 7-on-7s this year. We had basically, before the season started, we had 5 official practices. And that was a chance for our linemen to kind of, I think our linemen coming into this scrimmage were probably a little bit farther behind than our secondary and our linebackers and our running backs and our wide receivers and our quarterbacks, because those guys have been working ever since April, really, in the 7-on-7s and those kind of things. But, I felt like that overall that we're a little bit ahead, kind of right where I want to be. I don't know if that's, you're never really where you want to be, but I'm really happy with the group we have. I think that's a tribute to my staff. They've really worked hard, and we have a couple new guys on staff, especially Romero Morgan's never really been a part of what we're doing, and he's fallen into place, tremendously well. And I'm really happy with where we're at and what point we're at, but we still have a long ways to go. It's like we're climbing that hill, and we're down at the bottom, but we want to get to the top eventually.
How good do you want your kids to feel after a scrimmage, and especially one where they look pretty good?
Well, I think leaving on Friday night after the game, I do want them to feel well, because I think they played well. I think that we didn't lack effort. We didn't lack enthusiasm. I would like to have more enthusiasm. Obviously, I'd like to have more effort, but that's a coach. But come Monday, they're going to understand that, they felt good about themselves on Friday. And even if this had been a game and we'd have won, we're going to come in on Monday like we lost. And we're going to come in, we're going to correct mistakes, and we're going to get on their butts. And, that's how we do things. And we're going to, now we want to see how they're going to react. Because they might come in feeling good about themselves, and that's not me. You've been around me long enough to know that. We don't strive for perfection on Friday night. You work Monday through Thursday to win on Friday. And then once you win on Friday, it's over in 25 minutes after the game. Then you start working to win the next Friday and get better and eliminate those mistakes. You're never going to eliminate them all, but you can eliminate more and more each week.
In terms of mentality of the group, do you feel this group is one that's hungry, or do you think, just based on practices, if they have a good practice, they're satisfied?
No, I think that they're hungry. I think that they've done a tremendous job so far. They stayed very focused in what we've asked them to do. I think that's also a tribute to our coaches. We don't let them be satisfied. If they're trying to slack off in practice, which I've really not had a problem with, our coaches are there to make sure they get it on. I feel like I have one of the best coaching staffs I've had in a long time. Coach Eric's been with me for 12 years, O-line coach. and he'll be working with our O-line, and he's working more with our DNs this year than in the years past. Coach Meadows, our defense coordinator in 2007, 2008, helped us out a little bit this year, 2011 at Amelia. Coach Brogdon played quarterback for me in the 2005 state championship season at William Campbell. And I'll tell you what, he's a better coach than he was a player, and he was one of the best quarterbacks and one of the best players I've ever coached. So that says a lot about Coach Brogdon. And Romero Morgan, which is played here in 1997 for Coach Meadows and was on the state championship runner-up team, has been the head football coach over at Dunbar Middle School last couple of years and had a lot of success over there. I brought him on staff, and he's just really worked out really well. We have a strong JV staff, strong freshman staff, and we're building for the future here. We're building for the future. You've talked to me a lot, and the last 3 years has kind of been it's a whirlwind tour for me. But this is where I want to be, and I'm very happy and got great, tremendous support with the athletic director, the principal, my staff, and everything else. And we're excited. We've even brought back our old filmer, Everett Younger, is back on staff with us. So we're excited, and I feel like this team is definitely a hungry team, and I think that's a tribute not only to the kids but to our coaches that we have on staff.
I remember all the way back to William Campbell when you said the guy that's going to take the most heat is me and my quarterback, Javante Parrish. Talk a little bit about the relationship and how much you feel like he's ready to shoulder a lot of loads.
Javante's a quiet kid. He will shoulder more probably than any quarterback I've ever taken or had, because he probably puts more pressure on himself than I can ever put on him. And you've been around me long enough to know I didn't know that was possible. But he's a perfectionist. If he's not perfect, he's not happy. If you notice today, while the second team was out there, he was right in the ear of the second team quarterback, Jameek Alexander, every single play. That's not a kid that's going to be satisfied. That's a kid that's building for the future. That's a kid that understands he's a senior and he's got 1 year and he's going to do everything he can to come out here and make the best of every day, win the day. And I'm really excited about the opportunity to coach that young man. And I think he's really excited about the opportunity to get in this offense and flourish. And I don't think he understands, even after a game under his belt, what all that this offense can do.
You talk about being a perfectionist. Is that any, do you want to get any of that out of him? Because, an incomplete pass is not perfection, but you can't have him thinking about it.
I don't think he carries it from play to play like that. I think he's more of a kid that while he's in there in the game, it's he lets it roll off. But when now in between series, he's going to come to me and he's going to say, Coach, what did I do wrong? What could we have done this? What we done that? After practice, he's asking questions. He's doing that. So I think that's the part of it. I think definitely as a quarterback, he's definitely got that short-term memory. He lets it go. He concentrates on the next play. So I don't think that's a problem at all. I think that's a good trait instead of a bad trait.
Final question for you, and we'll talk to you more throughout the weeks and months and years ahead. But in terms of, this was it was a game week, for lack of a better term. Next week's a game week, even though it's short with the scrimmage on Thursday. How important do you want it to get to be, when Magna Vista comes? Obviously, that's going to be the first game, but have game weeks kind of already prepared, if you know what I'm saying.
I think it's very important. I think that these kids are starting to realize my routine. They're starting to see, on Mondays we do certain things, on Tuesdays we do certain things, on Wednesday we do certain things, on Thursday we do certain things. And it's just like the military. We want everything to be a nice, organized routine. And me as a coach, I'm sure a lot of coaches like that. We don't like to get off routine. And I want my kids to understand, number one, what the routine is, number two, what's expected of them on each day, and number three, where we expect to be each day. And, we have a couple sayings, and one of those sayings, you get better, you get worse every single day. And I felt like that through our first 10 days of practice, including today, we got better. And if we can continue to get better Monday, if we continue to get better Tuesday, we continue to get better Wednesday, we continue to get better on Thursday in the scrimmage, we come back and we have pictures and we have a practice on Friday, we continue to get better then. We get better Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday leading into Magna Vista, then we're going to be ready to play. And that's what it's all about. And, make no doubt about it. Right now, GW was important, Northside, Louisa, all that's important. But the only thing that matters right now is Magna Vista. And that's where our goals are. And starting this week, we'll probably start preparing for Magna Vista and their formations, their plays, their tendencies, those kind of things. But one thing I do want to leave you with is I'm really disappointed we didn't review before we preview. That's the only reason.
Try to save that for the regular season a little bit.
It's the first time I think I've ever been on the podcast that we did not review before we preview.
Well, I'll tell you what. One of the things I'm looking forward to is I can't wait to interview Coach Morgan after an all-night film session, because for people that have not gone through the Bradley Gauntlet, that's an awakening.
Well, Coach Brogdon's the same way. We let Coach Brogdon off the hook tonight because he's got his daughter in for Virginia Beach. So, I tell you what, you know you're getting a little bit older. I'm 39 years old, and the first time I've ever really had a guy on my staff that played for me. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if I could get more guys like Coach Brogdon, I'd have every one of my coaches be guys that have played for me, and guys, because I tell you what, in this business you got to have loyalty. Coach Eric's been with me for 12 years. Coach Meadows now been with me going on 4 years. Coach Brogdon played for me for 4 years. More than that in the middle school. So loyalty means a lot, and I'm excited about this opportunity, and this is just a not only coaching here, but getting a chance to coach with some of the guys I've actually coached in the past and see them take some of the things that we did and step in. And Coach Brogdon knows me so well that sometimes I'll start getting on a kid and say, Coach, I got you. And he'll save that kid, or he'll save me, or he'll do this or that. And, it's a lot of fun. I'm probably having more fun coaching this year than I've had and over definitely the last probably 3 years. I had a lot of fun to me. I'm not saying that, but this is truly some of the most fun with the interacting and coaches, the players, the athletic director, the administration. The overall experience I've had in a long time. I'm enjoying it.
Do you feel like you're a micromanager at all?
Yeah, I probably am to a degree, but I also think. Go ahead.
I was going to say, my question is, if you get your guys that have played for you, you talk about loyalty. How much of it is trust in terms of you can still micromanage if you want, obviously, but those guys know you just as well as you know you.
Well, and I think Coach Meadows will be the first one to tell you I am a micromanager, but I'm not. He's been doing our defense for 4 years, and one of the things he said the first year, he said, the reason I love coaching with you at Campbell, that was at Campbell, was you let us coach. So I'm not a micromanager where I'm going to tell them this is what we're going to coach, this is only what we're going to coach. I am a micromanager that I like things a certain way. The tempo of practice, the, blah, 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 whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, I let these coaches coach. Coach Brogdon played at Liberty University, and he was over there with Coach Rocco and a tremendous staff. Mm-hmm. And he learned a lot of football on the defense, offensive side of the ball. And he's teaching me some stuff. And I'm all about that. Anytime I can be taught football, anybody that ever played for me, you can ask Cedric Perry, you can ask, James Haley, Matt Barber, any of those guys that went and played in college. Hey, what'd y'all do?
Right.
Hey, what'd y'all do here? How'd y'all change your weightlifting? What'd y'all do here? I'm trying to pick their brain. And, we still have some plays that Matt Barber over at UVA Wise showed us, and we still name them, Wise or something after Matt. And Danny showed us some stuff, especially in our new defense. So, those are just some things that, I feel like, I might be a micromanager, but every head coach has to.
Right.
I'm not that guy that's going to say, hey, you're a defense coordinator, go do it. And me not going to know what's going on.
Right.
At the end of the day, the record goes on my record, doesn't go on their record.
Right.
So I'm going to make sure that I know what's going on, and you know that. But I'm going to let my coaches coach, and I want them to have fun. I want them to enjoy being around.
I'll close with this, and I think to a portion you're not going to really care about this question, but is there a misperception out there by the public about you and anything that I know you don't really care, but is there at any point?
I don't know. I don't.
We'll find out what the public.
I'm not the public, and I don't perceive me.
We'll find out the public and then come back.
But it's one of these things in this profession. My dad was in this profession for 41 years, and my grandfather was in it for 32 years. My grandfather was at Sullivan East, Graham, and then Virginia High, and I think maybe one more. So he was only at 4 places. My dad was at 7 or 8. In this profession, especially in today's time with budget. Restrictions and this and that, you got to find the right fit. And I will say one thing about myself the last 3 years, I made a wrong decision in 2009. I don't think I made the wrong decision leaving William County. I think it was time. Great place. They treated me tremendously. Rob Arnold's probably been one of the best principals I could ever have in my entire life. And I give a lot of the credit that we had for our success to Mr. Arnold. And Rick Purcell, our AD, and so on and so forth. And went to PH, and that was that. And then got a chance to do the AD head football job at Amelia. Really enjoyed it. They treated me well. It was just it was a small place, and this opportunity came up. I was very happy to me, but this opportunity came up. This opportunity doesn't come up all the time. I did not apply for both jobs at EC Glass and Heritage. I only wanted the Heritage job. If I didn't get the Heritage job, I would have stayed right there to me. But I felt like that anybody that applied for both jobs was just looking for a job. And I wasn't just looking for a job. I was looking for a good job. And I'm a pioneer. I'm an orange and blue guy now. And, if people think that moving from Campbell to PH to Amelia, and Amelia to Heritage, that's a bad thing, well, anybody that wants to make themselves better off and their family better off and their their whole job situation better off, and I guess everybody that tries to better themselves is selfish. But in saying that, as coaches, my grandfather always said, if you try to go out there and you try to make friends, if you're a loser, you're going to make friends. But if you win, you're probably not going to make a lot of friends. I know one thing. I'm in a tremendous district with a tremendous group of coaches, great coaches, and we all have respect for each other. And at the end of the day, as long as I have those guys, respect, nobody else has got to like me. My wife sometimes doesn't like me a lot, but she puts up with me. But anybody that's ever had a kid play for me, I think would understand that all my coaches, including myself, care about these kids. We go above and beyond the call of duty, and we're going to do whatever we can, not only to see their kid succeed on the football field, but succeed in life. And that doesn't always mean just coaching. There's a lot of other things. So at the end of the day, if I can be remembered for that, or our coaching staff or our program can remember for those kind of things, to me, that's all that matters.
I'll write the forward to your book. You don't know Brad Bradley like I know Brad Bradley, so I
don't think you sell many copies of that.
Well, we'll see. Probably publishing would actually.
I guarantee you, I know the name of it. We're going to review before we preview.
And I look forward to doing that in person this year, not over the phone like last year. Coach, as always, appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And again, Bob, I'm just glad to be back in this area so I can kind of do this more. Last year we did it on the phone. Now I'll do it in person. And I think it's a tremendous thing. I think that some coaches probably sometimes think, well, Bob Alice is calling. I got to do the podcast. But any time that we can get our program, our kids, any type of media coverage, I think it's great. And we're looking forward to it. We have an open door policy here that anytime you want to come in and pull our kids or pull our coaches, please come in and give us as much attention as possible. We appreciate everything you do for high school football.
Appreciate it, Coach.